Sports Fantasies with Miller and McCarty.
Welcome back. Sports Fantasies with Miller and McCarty. Back to Dynasty Baseball. Doing some outfield rankings tonight along with starting pitchers and relief pitchers. Should be a heck of a show. We're locked in and ready to go. How are we doing tonight, McCarty?
I was doing great until you brought up relief pitchers. That sounds boring, but hey, I'm in. I'm here, so I'm ready for it. That seems worse than the pitcher one to me, but yeah. We'll get to it.
As I was going through it and doing the relief pitchers, I started getting a similar feeling to that, but I was already committed to it, so here we are. We're going to start out in left field tonight. Interesting position here. I'm going to give you the first pick. Of course, we're going to go back and forth. A little 10 team mock
Top
draft
10.
or 10 person mock draft, however you want to look at it. So I'll give you pick one with the left fielders.
I like that. Following suit with what we did with the infield. I think we need to throw a disclaimer out right now that unless you did, I didn't include Ohtani in any of these lists. Well, other than, when we get to pitching, but because he is a DH and has played no other position and wouldn't be eligible in most leagues for any other position in the outfield. So look, if you did it, we'll leave it. I don't want to spoil your surprise.
I did not. Ohtani is not on any of my lists, including the pitching list, and that's because he's not pitching this year. I know this is for Dynasty, but because of that, I just decided to just leave him off the list completely. If you're in a redraft league, you have the first pick. Ohtani's probably the pick, right?
Maybe. Depends on I think it depends on your setup, your scoring. But yes, I think it's pretty safe to say that yes, Ohtani. I had no problem if somebody goes Ohtani at one at any given position he's available at. But just felt that need for that disclaimer. We talked about it the other day, but it feels odd leaving Ohtani off any of the lists that we do.
Yeah, I mean, we're just taking the best player in baseball and not including him in our rankings.
All right, with that, pick one at left field. This guy came on as a rookie, I guess. It's Mr. Corbin Carroll, 23 years old. Of course, was a pretty hyped-up prospect. First full season last year, 155 games. Showed a little more power than I thought he would have. He surprised me there with 25 home runs. We all know he had the speed. 54 stolen bases is no surprise. He's going to hit 285. In our league, that came out to 4.7 points per game, so up there in the elite ranks. Also a career best contact rate, including if you go back to his minor league days last year in the major. So I think there's a chance that he eventually hits that 30 home run, and you're looking like a 30-50 guy, which is going to be up near the top of the game.
Yeah, I had Corbin Carroll as my number one player as well. Number two, though, I'm going to create controversy because technically he's not eligible for this position either, but I couldn't leave this guy off the list like we did Ohtani, and that's Yordan Alvarez. He averaged 4.95 or 5 points per game last year in our segs. Not only played 114 games, 24 doubles, 31 home runs, 97 RBI. He was the top scorer by point per game for eligible left fielders in our league. But again, he only played 114 games, but he's also still young. He's only 26 years old. I put him at number two here because I didn't feel like we could leave Alvarez off, and he actually does have a position in our league, unlike Ohtani. Ohtani's only listed as utility player. Alvarez is not. So, although he had more games at DH in left field, he did play games in left field. He still has left field eligibility, so I put him here.
Yeah, and I had Alvarez on my list too, just because, like you said, in most leagues he's going to have that left field eligibility, and just like you alluded to, there's a little bit of an injury risk there, but I think moving forward, you're just going to pretty much see him at DH, and that should help out with that. So then the guy because I had Alvarez at 3, so the guy I actually had at 2 is just 1 year younger. It's Juan Soto. Of course, he transferred over to New York. We like that right hand porch over there, that right field porch. last year, 35 home runs, 109 RBIs. Not a ton of steals, but career high last year, 12 stolen bases. So the new rules are helping him a little bit there. San Diego is one of the toughest hitting parks for left-handed hitters. The right field is pretty deep. So that switch to New York, if he can handle the pressure, because we all know it comes down to in New York. If he can handle the pressure, he's going for 40. If not, then it could go south real quick. But again, I think Soto, just year in, year out, has been pretty elite, and I don't see anything changing with his change of scenery.
I honestly think Soto could finish number one on this list,
Sure.
but because of the New York pressure, knowing how consistent Alvarez has been already early in his career, that's why I put Alvarez ahead of him, because there is some questions with Soto. Of course, in a down year last year, like you said, he averaged 4.5 in our league. So, so at number 4, I'm actually going to go Kyle Schwarber here. Schwarber, of course, averaged 4.4 points per game in our league. He had 19 doubles, 47 home runs, 104 ribbies. He walked 126 times, and he had 108 runs. And he had 215 strikeouts and only 115 hits. But he was the number 3 scoring left fielder in our format last year. He's going to continue to get opportunities in Philly. He's going to continue to hit home runs. I'd be shocked if he finishes with less than 40 as long as he plays, the majority of the games. Last year he played 160 games. So I have Kyle Schwarber with the 4th pick.
I can see why. Like you said, I mean, last 3 years he's done what he does: 4.4, 4.3, 4.4. He's a little in his 30s now. I had him a little bit lower on my list just because of that. And I actually, like, after the top 3 for me at left field, it's either you're going kind of veteran or you're going to gamble on a rookie, or not a rookie, but a younger guy.
A young guy, yeah.
To round out the 10. And so my number 5, then I'm going to go young. I'm going to go Evan Carter of the Texas Rangers. 21.
You put him much higher than I did. I had him on my list.
Yeah, I actually had him at 4 on my list. 21 years old, very limited sample size last year, 4.2 points per game, but very limited. I'm going off what he did in the playoffs. He was just clutch. He did basically in the playoffs what he did in his limited sample size in the MLB. He is a big-time prospect, second-round pick. I think when you get into his prime, he's going to get you average about 280 and probably a 25 home run, 35 steal guy. That's pretty good numbers in most leagues.
It really is, yeah. I mean, I can't fault you for taking him there, especially at his age, and you're talking dynasty. I put a couple of the veteran guys ahead of a couple of the younger guys. So I guess with pick 6 here, I'm going to go Randy Arozarena. He's 29, so he's still in his 20s. He averaged just over 4 points per game last year in our leagues. Played 151 games, had 23 home runs, 83 RBIs, 80 walks, 22 stolen bases, 19 doubles, 140 hits, and 95 runs. So he still put up decent numbers. He's just consistent over the last couple of years. You've seen him go 4.2, 4.1, 3.9, 4. So he's been very consistent in our league. A 4 point per game guy is kind of a star. Those 5 point per game guys are kind of the superstars. So if you're looking for something consistent and a guy that I think is going to do it, consistently over the next 5, 6, 7, 8 years, I think Randy Arozarena is a safe pick here at 6.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said consistent. That's just what he is. You know what you're going to get. He's got a very safe floor. I think he still does have he's done about the same thing every year, and it's been pretty good. I think he does have the potential. We've seen him in those playoff runs and whatnot where he just goes nuts. Like, I think he has the potential to put together an elite season. It just hasn't happened, so I don't know if it will. But if you're talking about a guy that's a 3.8, 4 point per game floor with the potential for maybe to hit 4.5, 4.6 some season, then yeah, I like that. So then at number 7, I'm going to go somewhat young again. He was a late bloomer. It's Nolan Jones. The move to Colorado is like like it would anybody. Seemed to help his hitting stats. He's 25 years old. He was a big-time prospect coming out. Didn't quite pan out. I think he was in Cleveland when he was the prospect.
He was,
so
yes.
106 games with the Rockies last year, 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, almost hit 300. So again, a guy that's got a little bit of pop, a little bit of speed. So if you put together a full season and he can get in that 25 and 25 range and hit 290, we'll take that there.
Yeah, I had Nolan Jones on my list. We had him ranked similarly from you just taking him where you did out. You probably had him a couple spots higher on your list, actually, but I had him in that 7 range. So, and again, it shocks me that you say, he was a huge prospect and was considered a bust in Cleveland, and he's 25 years old. I mean, he still has another 10, 12, 15 years, depending on how he ages and how his body develops.
That's how we look at it, though, right? If they don't, right nowadays, if they don't break out by the time they're 22 or 23, we're talking about, do they still have that potential? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and yet a team like the Rays is a team that does develop prospects very well, but they're also a team that will take on other teams, busted prospects, and then they turn them into, semi-stars in Tampa, and that's how they keep competing with no payroll.
Yeah.
But, all right, because you took Nolan Jones there, I'm actually going to take Brian Reynolds, another 29-year-old, another guy that sits right around 4 points per game every year. I think last year he was a little under, he had 3.9 last year. 31 doubles, 85 runs, 24 home runs, 84 ribbies, 53 walks, 12 stolen bases. Quite honestly, he'd be higher on my list if he played somewhere besides Pittsburgh. But playing in Pittsburgh, he doesn't quite have the help around him that you would like to see. And I think that's why he's not consistently getting to that 100 RBI mark and, the 100-run mark. And so...
Yeah.
Now, Pittsburgh is young. They have some up-and-coming guys, but I think Brian Reynolds at the 8 pick is a very solid pick for our left fielders.
All right, and then number 9 for me, since I didn't really do any prospects on this list, I'm going to add my top left field prospect here and take him at 9. It's Wyatt Langford of the Texas Rangers. He graded out as a prospect on MLB Prospects. He was, of course, the 4th overall pick in the 2023 draft. 70 power, 55 runs, so he's got the ability to do both those. In the minors last year, just over 44 games, hit 360 with 10 home runs, 12 stolen bases, made it all the way up to AAA in his first, 40 games of ball. There's a chance he makes the roster this year, although, again, Texas is pretty deep right now, so I don't think you'll see him till later in the season, or if there's an injury, or maybe next year. But I think eventually he could be up in the top 5 within a couple of years on our list.
I know you took Evan Carter earlier, but long term, do you like Wyatt or Evan more?
Wyatt, if I'm being honest.
I assumed that you took Evan because you're getting some production from him potentially now, where Wyatt, you're definitely waiting for it. All right, so that means the last pick in the left field draft, I'm going to, go a little upset here. You're going to hate this pick. That's why I'm doing it. It's Chas McCormick from the Astros. 115 games last year, 60 runs, 22 home runs, 70 ribbies, 40 walks, just under 20 stolen bases, and 20 doubles. Average 4 points per game in our scoring. I believe he's going to have 5.
Thank you for listening to Sports Fantasies with Miller and McCarty.
Okay, sorry, my bad. I hit the button prematurely. Chas McCormick, go on. Go.
That's all I had to say about Chas. Was there anyone on your list that didn't get picked, sir?
No, the only other note I had on here, Chas McCormick. Oh man. Okay, the only other note I had on here. This guy went from like top prospect ever to might not ever play in the majors to he's been decent. Now he's in Atlanta. A little sleeper I'm throwing out there. look, don't sleep on Jared Kelenic this year. The Braves came out and said he's going to be the everyday left fielder for them this season. If that's true, in that lineup, I mean, he's going to hit near the bottom of the order there. They're going to have to throw to him. He wasn't terrible last year in Seattle. He's still 3.5 in our league. Showed a lot of pop, at least at the beginning of the season. So I'm just saying there's still hope for a guy like Kelenic, where you talked about earlier. I think he's still probably like 23, 24 years old.
Yeah, I actually don't hate that. The only guy on my list that wasn't picked was another old guy. He's 32. That's Christian Yelich. But all he does every year is go 3.8, 4.2 in our league. Of course, he misses games, but I mean, overall, I don't think he's a bad guy either. He was at the bottom of my 10-person list. It was between him and McCormick for that last pick. I kind of went McCormick because I knew it'd be funny and you would enjoy that. And I completely forgot that you told me that we weren't doing prospects, but you mentioned two of the three that I actually wrote down here: Wyatt Langford, Evan Carter, and then Max Clark, who is only 19 from the Tigers. He's a top 25 overall prospect. A lot of people talking about him. I figured I'd mention him since he wasn't really mentioned, but I also forgot that you said we weren't doing prospects. So, all right, ends us for the left fielders. That was a good time, and we'll see you again soon.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Sports Fantasies with Miller and McCarty. And be sure to catch future shows wherever you stream.
Bye-bye now.